Welcome back to World Sport. Earlier in the show, representatives of both Poland and Ukraine hit back at claims of racism and danger for travelling supporters at Euro 2012, saying fans are safe travelling to their countries. They were responding to views of former England player Sol Campbell in a BBC programme Panorama that the countries shouldn't have even been awarded the tournament because of entrenched racism and violence. Of course, it's not just fans from England expected to travel to next month's tournament, so how concerned are supporters from around Europe? I'm pleased to say I'm joined in the studio by Piara Powar, Executive Director of Football Against Racism in Europe. Thank you so much for coming in. From what you heard from our guests earlier, have any concerns of yours been allayed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we know the situation in domestic football in both Poland and Ukraine. And I'm afraid that the Panorama documentary hit the nail on the head. It is a very, very bad situation. And in many ways, I think it's a situation that flies in the face of historical facts in both of those countries. I mean, Poland is a country which used to have a vibrant Jewish population, and now the Jewish population is tiny, and we know where they went, unfortunately, in the Second World War. But nevertheless, I think there's also some good work going on. And we would say that it's difficult for ethnic minorities in this country to see that work, but nevertheless there's been, you know, an investment from UEFA. We work with the Never Again Association that you mentioned earlier on, and they've been working both in Poland and Ukraine for 3 or 4 years now, supported by UEFA. So there's some good work going on both at the grassroots and to make sure that Euro 2012 inside stadiums does not resemble the sort of scenes that we saw last night in the documentary.
Is this just an English concern?
I think the English, we here in England are more worried about this, we're more concerned. We understand our diversity better. We have been through a history ourselves of monkey chanting and booing and so on. The Ukrainian ambassador quite rightly said to me in the corridor that monkey chanting comes from a place, and I think he was saying that it comes from the UK, and he's absolutely right. But nevertheless, this is also a concern for other countries. There will be mixed teams in the Netherlands, Germany, the French have a lot of black players. I think all of those teams will be looking at themselves and saying, what sort of safety precautions do we need to take? Do our relatives travel, or do they stay behind? And how do we respond to possible outbreaks of racism? Now, we have a procedure with UEFA to deal with those sort of issues, and we're fairly clear that it's a good procedure, it will work in the right way, and I think we'll see a lot of teams and their fans probably getting sanctioned quite heavily by UEFA by the end of the tournament. And
UEFA would say that they award these tournaments to help tackle problems like this.
Yes, I think it's difficult. You know, Poland is a very vibrant, multicultural society. It's a developing society. It is one of the fastest growing economies in Europe, and I don't think we should sort of disparage that in any way. Ukraine, I would say, is a slightly different sort of democratic model, if you like. And yes, I think going to Ukraine for these championships will be an education for them. They will see how the world wants them to behave when the eyes of that world are upon them, how to organise sporting competitions, and as they're finding out today, just the sort of things that the Western world does not like in terms of racism and forms of violence.
Piara Powar, thanks ever so much for coming in and talking to us.